In this lesson, we're looking at factorizing quadratic expressions with three terms. Now, a quadratic expression has an x squared term, and the way that they are set out is ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, those a, b, and c values are numerical, all right, and they belong to all the different types of terms here. So the a belongs to the x squared term, the b belongs to the x, and the c is numerical. Now, in order to factorize these, we need to go through a few steps because it's not as simple as just finding a common factor. So if we have a look at our first example, straight away you can see that there is no common factor between those three terms. So we can't just drag one out and put it out the front and then divide each term by that one before we put things in the brackets. We've got only x's here, but there's no x in this particular term, so we can't find a common factor. So the next thing we need to consider is what pair of numbers add to give b and multiply to give c, remembering that b belongs here and c is here. So b in our case is 10 and c in our case is 16. So let's think about some numbers that add together to give 10. So you can do 1 and 9, you could do 2 and 8, you could do 3 and 7, you could do 4 and 6, etc. But what you need to start to recognize is, okay, which pair of numbers here, and we can go 5 and 5 as well, multiply then to give 16. So obviously these are out, but as soon as we get to here, 2 times 8 is 16. Therefore, we want to use the pair 2 and 8 because 2 plus 8 gives us 10, which is our b value, and we know that 2 times 8 gives us 16, which is our c value. Now, these are the values we use in our brackets with our x term. So when we are factorizing, our x goes here because we know the first thing we're going to do is multiply x by x to give our x squared term. And then we have to use these two numbers. So they're both positive numbers, so we are going to put them both in with a positive sign in front of them. And we can do a check now to make sure that we have factorized this correctly. And we can simply do our usual binomial expansion, right? So our FOIL, and we can say we've got x squared plus 8x plus 2x, and what's the last part? Plus 16. All right, there are our like terms, so x squared plus 10x plus 16. So we've gotten back to where we need to. Now that's nice and easy only if the value of a is 1. So the value of the number or the coefficient in front of the x squared term is 1. In this particular case, we've got a 3. And so that means we have to start to look, okay, do we have a common factor? And if we look across all of them, we actually do. So let's pull out the 3. Once we pull this 3 out as our factor, we can then look at, all right, what's going on? 3x squared divided 3 is just giving us x squared. 33 x divided by 3 will give us 11x, and 30 divided by 3 will give us 10. And now we have no number, no coefficient in front of the x squared, no a value. We can treat this just like we did our first example. So let's have a look. We've got our a, b, and our c. We are looking for numbers which add to give b and multiply to give c. So let's have a look at b. B is 11, so we can start off by saying, all right, 1 and 10, 2 and 9, 3 and 8, and so on and so on. But straight away we can already see actually this one is going to multiply together to give our c value. So our pair of 1 and 10 will add together to give 11, which is our b value, and they will multiply together to give our c value. So straight away we can use them in our brackets, not forgetting about our 3 outside. So we've got x's to start off with, and our numbers are both positive, so positive 1 and positive 10. Once again, we can go through that binomial expansion check to see that we've got everything right, and that will help us out. So our steps are always, are there any common factors between all three terms? If there's not, then we need to look at our b and c value and find those pairs that add to give b and multiply to give c. And then we can put those pairs of numbers into our brackets, and we will use those pairs of numbers to tell us some more information about our quadratic expression later on. If there is a common factor, we need to bring it out front, get that A value to be 1 as best we can, and once again go through the process of finding the pairs of numbers that add to give B and times to give C, and then putting those in the brackets, not forgetting the original factor that we pulled out.